there, beautiful people. You're listening to Cast a Ripple by Carla Berger from Cape Town, South Africa. Hello friends, and welcome to a new episode of Cast a Ripple. Cast a Ripple and Be a Ripple is a space where I like to share what I like to call life-enhancing tools that you can use to create space or hold space for yourself in order to experience life in the best possible way. Today I want to talk to you about relationships. Relationships is one of the things all of us have in common. We all have relationships with at least one other human being, or a relationship with whatever it is that's around us. We can also have a relationship with things in our life, material things. We can also have a relationship with ourselves. So relationships are one of the founding and basic elements in our day-to-day lives. And as we all know, relationships can cause a lot of trauma, a lot of drama, a lot of happiness, love, ecstasy, anger. Let's be honest, most of the emotions and stuff that we go through is probably because of a relationship that we have with another human being. So these elements in our lives, these relationships, are very much tools that we can use to create space. They are tools that we can use to assess our own internal reality. Why do I say this? Well, I say this because relationships are like mirrors. They're a reflection of what's going on the inside, what we are experiencing. For more on this, you are welcome to go and watch my couch talk, Relationships as Mirrors. Just to understand the concept a bit more, I give a few examples there about what it is to say that relationships are mirrors. So for this podcast, relationships are not only relationships with human beings. There are relationships with other living beings around us, dogs, cats, all of that. Relationships with the nature, relationships with our home, with concepts even, relationships with what are we in relation to anything else. And that's the whole point of this whole exercise that we're going through, of this whole thing we call life, is to figure out for ourselves what we are in relation to whatever else. I've mentioned this a few times in a bunch of my other, or any of my other episodes, is that we are all here, us as human beings, are all here to experience ourselves, to experience self in this specific body. We are actually divinity expressed, every single one of us, in different forms, in different landscapes, in different settings, with different conditionings, all for divinity to be able to experience itself in all of those settings. So we are all divinity experiencing itself. So the whole aspect of any kind of interaction, of any relationship that we have, of us in relation to anything else, is to experience ourselves through that, to understand what it is that we are in relation to that other person, in relation to that other being, in relation to that material object. That's why addiction can be so frustrating, because there's a relationship there with whatever it is that we're addicted to, whatever it may be. So relationships can really teach us a lot if we bring awareness into them. If we hold a light up to any kind of relationship that we have, whether it be with your parents, with your family, with a loved one, a romantic interest, whether it be with a passerby, with your boss, with your colleagues. All of those relationships and those interactions, however subtle, show us and reflect us something back to us. You know, why is it sometimes that when we are frustrated, everything else around us reflects that frustration back at us? I mean, if you have a bad day, sometimes you end up having a really bad day because everything is just snowballing. It's because it's all reflecting your internal relationship. So everything external is actually a reflection of your internal relationship with yourself. That's why when something happens to you, whether it's a relationship or someone says something to you, it's always something that's pointing towards an issue in yourself. It's nothing actually to do with the other person. It's always something that you need to look in a bit deeper, and the same for that person as well. Anything that you might be saying to someone, like this thing that they do irritates you, might actually mean that you are also doing similar things that irritate you when you do that. And that's why it's coming up. That's why it's reflecting itself back at you. So there's always interactions that you can look at and note down, bring awareness to it, and understand yourself in such a much deeper level. With this, I mean, there are so many aspects of self that you can evaluate. There's your personality. I'll be doing a podcast on this for next weekend, actually, personality. So keep an eye out for a much more detailed look into our personalities. But you can look at your personality. You can look at your boundaries. Boundaries are a big one. You can look at patterns, at triggers. Why sometimes when this specific or a similar interaction comes up, you always react in the same way. You're always offended, or you get sad, or you get hurt, or you are ecstatic. There's always a pin there. There's a point, a trigger. Why is it? And there comes the insight that we can really gather from any kind of interaction with any kind of relationship that we have ever had. Why? And as soon as you open up that why, it goes deeper and deeper, and it goes back towards something that might have happened in your childhood. So those relationships are opportunities for us to be able to look so much deeper into ourselves and to understand ourselves better, and to maybe clear some baggage, do some shadow work. You're welcome to go and look at my podcast about shadow work as well. Shadow work can be very difficult sometimes. Most of the time, people don't really like shadow work. But it clears your energy up so much. It helps you to move past traumas and triggers and patterns in your life that are holding you back, that are not serving you. And you can decide whether you are done with them or not. As we go through life, we change. Things, and mostly relationships, change us. And they change our setting. They change our outlook on life. They are so fundamental to the human experience. It's beautiful and torture at the same time. If I just look at myself, 10 years ago, I met a guy, and we had this amazing journey for 10 years. If it weren't for my previous partner, I would never have come to Cape Town. I would never have fallen in love with this absolutely stunning place. And I would never have done it because my entire family is up there. They're still up in Pretoria. So, and that for me was another kind of relationship that I had to challenge, is moving away from my family. It was very traumatic for me. But I moved to Cape Town for another relationship, and I fell in love with Cape Town, and I fell in love with the people. And so many of my deep friends of my soul tribe are here now, and I would never have found them. I would never have been here to meet them. I would have had a completely different life. And even though there's no longer a romantic relationship between me and my previous partner, and it was a very hurtful transition to be going through that, I can now look back at that, and I am so blessed beyond measure to have gone through that, no matter how painful. And it changed me completely. But even go so far as to say it changed my personality type, or aspects of it. Changed me as a human being. Sometimes I look back and it feels like a different life. Feels like I died in between. And I think spiritually, energetically, that's really a thing. Physically not, maybe, but definitely spiritually. And I was reborn as this new, much more authentic human being. And that's what that relationship did for me. Relationships aren't things that happen to us. We tend to personalize them. We tend to over dramatize them. You know, there are so many aspects to them that frustrate us so much and cause us so much pain, just because we think that they are something that happened to us. But they are so intricate. Nothing is a coincidence in this life. Not even the stranger that you pass by. Nothing is a coincidence. All of them play a very intricate role of getting us somewhere, of helping us evolve, of helping us experience self. And that is just absolutely beautiful. And as soon as you can see that, as soon as you can see relationships as tools, as soon as you can open your eyes and see relationships as things that happen for you, even the painful ones, all of them happen for you, and they're helping you to get somewhere beautiful. And that I can really say now, such a blessing. Okay guys, just one last thought. As we go through these relationships, our vibration changes, our consciousness changes. We become, as soon as we understand them for what they are, more aware of them. And as we grow more aware of them, our consciousness grows. We start to evolve. We move past those triggers and those patterns, even though they will always be there, and sometimes they will still trigger us. The awareness will never leave once you start to become aware of it. It might catch up a bit late. Like something would happen and then 10 minutes later you'll be like, should have seen that, but you didn't. But as soon as you start to practice awareness around relationships, your consciousness opens up, your vibration increases, and that allows your soul tribe to enter. More and more and more you are attracting the people that resonate with you. You always attract people that resonate you, like frequencies. But more and more as your consciousness grows, more and more people will be attracted to you that have a higher vibration. And that's your soul tribe. They come in and you just know them for the beautiful beings that they are, that they were just meant to be, that they are the family that's not of blood but of energy. And finding that, even if it is bit for bit, even if it is sometimes you feel very lonely because you feel like no one understands you, because as you go through this consciousness evolution, you change, so you will lose people along the way as well, and that's painful. But that is all growing pains, and it opens you up to receive some of the most beautiful relationships that you will ever have, and I promise you that. So I want to really encourage you to open up your awareness about relationships, any kind of relationships. Look at them as tools, see them as things that happen for you. Use them to your best benefit, because that's why they're there. Okay, my loves, that's it for today. Please follow this channel, subscribe to this channel. Remember, I am on YouTube as well for the guys that are listening on Anchor, but you know, that's why all of these platforms are there. You can choose audio or video, it's your choice. Follow me on Instagram, b_a_ripple, and check out my website for links to all of my content. I love you guys. Enjoy the week. I will speak to you guys again in a week's time. Oh, my love. Bye.